What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Dad's Life Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Flac 2.0, and with me in the studio via satellite, we got NjordGod, which is that way. He's that way. And we got... Go ahead.
I said, what's good?
And then we got Sensei Jon, and he's in that corner right there if you guys are watching us here on YouTube.
Yee, I'm back, ready to go.
So first and foremost, before we get started, want to say we did just record one of our behind the scene episodes for our patrons. So I want to say a big shout out to our patrons out there. We got Mr. Crinley, we got Jeremizi, and we got Jason H. So I want to say thank you. Go ahead and check that out. If you guys are interested in the Patreon, you can start your patronage for our content, starting at $1 a month. So very little. But I will say just listening, liking, subscribing on the YouTube, or sharing any of our content is more than enough. We're more grateful. But again, if you're looking for something a little bit extra, you can head over to the website, shadowpackwest.com, and see what all other Patreon benefits you could receive by becoming a patron. Let's see here. So before we get started, do we have any before or early show shout outs anybody wants to shout out?
My Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. How about that?
Amen, brother. Njord, what you got? You want to do any early show shout outs?
Mainly just my so big shout out to my mom. Stuff's going on there that I kind of definitely want to commemorate.
Okay.
Shout out to her. Obviously wouldn't be here if wasn't for her.
Right.
But then obviously to my wife and my daughter.
Okay. All right.
Right on.
Okay, so we're getting started here. We got Sensei Jon with the agenda for today, sir. So what you got in store for us?
All right. Well, Sean, you have yours to finish. Is bonding with each child different? You can give us some good tips on how to bond with our children. I know you got some. Secondly, going into our brand new topics, work-life balance. Maybe we can give people some strategies for balancing their career and responsibilities in family life.
Okay.
Lastly would be memorable moments, sharing some memorable moments, heartwarming or amusing stories. If you got something, that you just want to share, whatever it may be, let's hear it.
Okay. So, of course, obviously, before we get into our dad life, dad advice section, do we got any current events? I know we talked about the All-Star game. Obviously, going to our subject matter expert, our Shmee, on the current events in sports. Sensei Jon, what you got for us, Sensei Jon?
Well, the East Coast represented it well. I mean, it was a little soft game. They scored 200. Like I said, that I wanted to see. The East Coast won, so shout out to them. Slam dunk contest was, I don't even know this guy. I don't even know. Mac McClung. I don't even know if it was McClung. He won the slam dunk contest. Damian Lillard, he won the 3-point contest. And for Steph and Sabrina, Steph pulled it out. I honestly, they only get, I believe, one turn. It was only one turn to go. And I mean, for me, it's just you're just getting warmed up. So I'm like, okay, maybe if they add a couple of more people, I don't know. Because then if they add more people, then they wouldn't be able to go against each other. So maybe make it best two out of 3 or something. I don't know. But it was a good All-Star weekend, I guess. 200 points really amused me. I was like, okay, they did it.
Okay.
I was actually in a restaurant having dinner with the fam, and we were all watching it, and it was pretty cool. I was like, okay, they hit it. So that's it for your current events. We don't have too many.
I did want to add, because it just hit me, some things I remembered, because it was funny how you talked about Patrick Mahomes' dad. It's a little controversy, right? Oh. Okay,
right.
So one thing, because I actually watched the highlights of the Steph and Sabrina shootout that they had, and then you kind of heard the announcer kind of talk a certain way, almost like sexist. And I was like,
Oh wow.
yeah, it was something like, and again, I didn't get, because I was just like, what? So I was like, it kind of hit me a little bit, like, wait a minute, what is he saying? And then I saw an article had that talked about the announcer had backlash for what his commentary was during that. So I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. I mean, again, I didn't go too much into it because it's just not my thing. But I thought that was pretty interesting. And then I saw another article come across my feeds that talked about the All Star game, and they said if just like what you just and what your comment earlier reminded me of that, it was a soft game. So the article said with the players not taking it serious, what's the point of having it?
Exactly.
So yeah, there were the two things that what, if you guys have, if the listeners, if you guys have any thoughts or anything like that on those two things about our little current event topic for this week, don't be afraid to hit us up on our socials, or again, leave a comment in the comment section below.
Mm-hmm.
Njord, you got anything on current events? Just throwing this out.
I mean, how crazy was this last week though with the whole cell phone outage thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was crazy. I remember we had one, but I'm T-Mobile. So.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
T-Mobile too. So
So
AT&T
the thing
was
is
great.
like my work, all of our stuff runs off of AT&T, right?
Oh.
Our iPads, most of the guys' cell phones out here run off of AT&T. So we've got a very large district that we work for, so we're spread across miles, right?
right.
And none of our bosses could like give us a call to get redirected to emergencies or anything like that. So
Yikes.
I'm not laughing,
we
man.
couldn't
You know.
complete work orders. We couldn't pull up information about where we were working at, this, that, or the other. So, I mean, it affected us. It didn't affect me personally just because I've got Verizon for my own personal stuff.
Right.
But for work, it kind of created chaos to the point where they're all going through installing CV radios again on all the trucks.
Oh wow.
Hey, that's real.
Wow.
Hey, that's good. They shouldn't have probably never took them out.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All
Stuff
right.
like this can happen, man.
Right.
Did y'all watch that movie? Damn, I can't even think of it.
That Bruce Willis movie?
The Obamas had
Oh yeah, that one that just recently came out.
yeah, on Netflix.
Oh.
Look at me. I don't even know what the damn
I don't remember
name
what it was
of
called, but yeah.
I just said the whole, there was the Bruce Willis movie, Live Free or Die Hard. It was like I think the last Die Hard movie he did.
Yeah.
And like part of that was taking in all the communications, and like his buddy, in order for them to communicate, they used old CB radios. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
So I'm just having to sit here. I'm kind of going through like our employee handbooks and everything for like radio etiquette guidelines.
Mhm.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Right, because there are.
Yeah,
there are.
It's open air. It's open air. So.
Hey, we know about that. Yeah, it's called "Leave the World Behind." That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when everything went out. But that's for another day.
Right. Okay. All right. So if we don't got nothing else, I know Sensei Jon, you sound like you had a quick comment before I switched over to Njord. Was there anything you wanted to add about the current event stuff?
I did have. Oh, how about them Trump sneakers, huh?
Oh man.
Solid gold, baby.
I'm an ex sneakerhead. I mean, but those, I got no comment.
That was bunk, bro.
I gotta see what these look like.
You gotta see what they look like.
I got
Hey, they
no
crazy.
comment. I got no
They
comment.
all gold, man. Just like his gold toilets in the Trump Tower.
Yeah, like you said, I got no comment. No comment.
Yeah, I mean, but the crazy part was one of the current events I wanted to talk about was the guy who made the comment on Fox News was like, "Oh yeah, black people, they love sneakers, so this is a perfect way to."
Oh my god!
I was like, "Really? This is how you gonna do us?" But
Oh my god!
I will say this. I will say this now that I've seen these sneakers, I have seen much uglier that cost probably a lot more.
Okay,
they're like $400, right?
Again, I have seen much uglier that cost more.
I feel you.
Yeah,
I feel you.
Hey, you know what? Fashion to each his own. We'll just leave it at that.
Yep.
All right.
Uncle Trump.
So let's go ahead and transition. But before we transition into our dad life advice, dad life dad advice section, we got to know what's in your cup.
What's in the cup?
What's
Come on,
in
Travis.
the cup?
Yeah, we need a flash. We need a flash across the screen. What's in the cup?
I'll try to put that in post. Okay, what you got?
I'm
Sensei
I'm
Jon.
same old, same old.
Okay.
I'm same old, same old.
All
You
right.
know, can't.
So-
I got that tequila. I was drinking it a little neat earlier. While I was getting ready, listening to my bangers with my music and everything.
Okay.
Get ready for my podcast tonight.
Okay.
But the same old thing. Tequila and juice.
Okay. So for the listeners out there, it's Pop Quiz Hot Shot. Okay. If you guys have watched our old episodes, leave a comment. What is his tequila of choice? You can't say nothing. You can't say nothing on this episode.
I ain't gonna say nothing.
So if they
Nathan.
so if they want to know what your tequila of choice is, they got to go back and listen to some old episodes.
Yes, sir.
All right, Njord.
And if you get it right, you'll get a personal shout out on our next shout out section.
There you go. There we go.
He said it. He said it.
Yes, you pointing in the right direction. All right, Njord, what you got?
I have my favorite
Oh,
Jameson Black Barrel.
Okay, Jameson.
all right.
Last week we hit it up with some Delwynnie's Scotch, right? That's because that's just what I had available to me last week. But I went through the drive-through liquor store yesterday.
Wait a minute, you guys got a drive-through liquor store?
Yeah,
Oh hell yeah! I didn't even have to get out of the car. I just pulled up, be like, "Hey, I want this and this," and they're like, "All right, give us your money." So I gave my money, and they're like, "Here's your bottles. Peace."
Wow, we don't got that.
Them
out
other
here.
states be cracking, dog. Them other states
Hey.
be cracking, man.
Welcome to America.
I'm an American.
America.
All right.
That's
What
what's
do,
up.
all right. What do I got in mind? Okay, so last week it was a little boring. I just had some water, right?
Ooh.
But now
Lemonade.
yeah, water with some lemonade, right? But now to this, I'm gonna go ahead and crack this for y'all. If you can hear it.
Ooh,
Okay.
I heard that. I heard that crispy.
Right, but what is it? What is
What's
it?
that?
Waterloo.
Bud Light.
Waterloo black water lemonade. Oh wait, you guys are up here. Sorry.
Waterloo Black Water Lemonade. Okay.
Right.
That's what's up.
So a little bit more exciting than last week, but not as exciting as you guys. I'm not up to your level yet, so.
No. You stay right there, dog.
Right.
I do want to give a PSA real quick.
Okay.
My significant other is on her way home from my mom's house.
Okay.
So we may hear some peak dog activity while she's walking through the door.
Okay.
Just for audience
Reference.
Okay.
awareness.
Okay. And it'll probably stay in there unless I can edit it out in post, but we'll figure that out.
I'm kind of watching her location, and if I notice that she's pulling up, I'll kind of like give a, hey, I need to mute for a couple seconds.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Sensei
So-
Jon, take us away. What we got?
For you, Sean, because we went over time last week. Is bonding with each of your kids, is that different? And how so?
Hooey. Okay. So here's the thing.
Give us some tips.
Well, okay. Well, here's the thing, right? I've had basically 3 weeks to think about this, and I'm gonna change the tone of the show a little bit because I've been dealing with a lot of different things with my different kids, and because it's very specific. The way I took this was bonding, and the relationship, the different relationships we have with our kids. So to answer the initial question, yes. The bond and the relationships that I have with my different children basically mirrored a lot of what Sensei said last week about age, the time where I was in my life with my children, and then of course like the relationship I had with my wife affected all of that too. So I mean, me very specifically, the first thing I'm gonna say. That when your kids are small, cherish that time. Like when they're small, cherish that time. I know we're going to talk about work-life balance, so I'll probably bring this up um, in there as well. But somebody at my job kind of basically told me that the work's always going to be here, but your kid's time won't be. So, this person, again, work, 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 work. And by the time they were ready to stop working and spend time with the kids were already too old, or, too, quote unquote, too old. And to hang out with him. And he had missed out on so much of that small time. Now, just kind of getting into my children, my oldest, he's 19, and he's having some troubles right now. But just like what I said, when I look back and I look at pictures and things like that, my bond with him when he was younger was completely different than what it is right now as he's older. And what I want to do is I wanted, again, I've had 3 weeks to think about this question, and it really kind of hit me, and it really made me think about those different bonds and how each one is different. And you had hit on it a couple episodes ago where you talked about um, your youngest one. He could do no wrong because he's the last one, right? And you have to, like you said it, you have to cherish that time because you will not have another child again at that age. And so now fast forward 19 years, and I go back and I look at all these different pictures, and he just looked like a completely different person and than what he is now. And I miss that, and I miss that bond, and that bond was the hardest bond because I was, just starting out. I'm still trying to find my footing, um, having to help or having to raise him while I was trying to find my footing. So our relationship is completely different and will always be completely different. And as he, learns and grows and things like that, I just kind of have to kind of let him do his own thing. And I miss the bond that we had versus the one we have now. And so I say about bonding and bonding with your children is, my little tip that I'll give you on this subject is to cherish them when they're small, when basically you're their world and they look up to you and they talk to you, and even the littlest thing, take time to listen to it, because to them, or to you, you might think it's little, but to them it's the world, and it's the world that you're listening to them as well. So yeah, so my oldest one, like I said, the bonding is different, and the relationship that we have is I have to let him grow at his own pace and in his own realm, and it's hard for me to let go of the bond we had before that. um, um, then I have my middle son, I mean, that guy, I mean, both. My middle son is like what you said, this little boy can't do no wrong. He just doesn't have uh, a malicious little bone in his body. And so I'm just like, man, I got to cherish that. I have to, make sure that he still, he grows up with that same mentality at his core. Like, obviously the kids are going to grow and they're going to learn to be influenced, but I hope that, his little self is, stays the same to the core. But I love that guy. And then, man, whew, the youngest, my daughter, um, you know,
Wrapped around your finger.
she is she's a special one. You know what I'm saying? She's a whole lot more outgoing and I think extrovert than my youngest son. Very physical. She'll just run and dance and play and wants to meet people, and I cherish that relationship. And I'm gonna say a little bit more because I'm right where that's. I'll never have another child that age again, and she's 6. So, I mean, it's going to go quick. Like, the 6 years has gone quick, and I just know I'm not going to have another one that young again. So, with that, like, again, the biggest advice I could give, or the tip, is to understand that, and to understand that even though the bonds may be different, they one is not more meaningful than the other, in my opinion. But they are different, and they are different based upon who you are as a person, where you are in your life, and of course where they are. And the best thing that I could do, I mean, they say when you having kids, it's the longest days with the shortest years. So, cherish them when your bond is super strong, and then hope that as they get older that they could hold on to that, and you know uh, maintain or strengthen that bond, even if it's a couple rough patches or whatever. So anyway, that's my take on it. Like, yeah, I had 3 weeks to think about it, and it's kind of been a roller coaster with that topic. So I want to say thank you for bringing that one, and thank you for sharing your
Right
guys'
on.
story about that too. So
Lord, you look like you had something to say.
Man, I keep hearing about, cherish this time, cherish when they're small, cherish this, cherish that. Man, if you saw the attitude looks that I'm getting day in, day out already, oh, man, it's we're going through the twos, and
It's not terrible. Well, should we tell him, Sean?
that's
I heard threes.
That's what
I
we're
heard
here
two.
for. That's what we gotta
Should we tell him?
tell him,
It's
Sensei.
worse than 3.
Yeah, man. 3.
I'm
Oh
just-
my god. You better cherish those 2s, because those 3s. Yeah.
It's not even funny, dog. The first one, my daughter, I was like, we both was looking at each other like, wait a minute. I thought it was the terrible 2s. No, it's the 3s
Right.
into the 4s. At 4, they kind of like mellow out a little bit.
So it's
You know
the
what I mean?
thundering threes, huh?
Yeah, there you go. Oh, I like
Yeah,
that
I
one.
like that one. Yeah.
That's
I
a
got
new
it.
one.
The
The
Thundering
I got it.
Threes.
terrible 2s and thundering 3s.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, Sean, getting back to your cherish it, man. I do, and I still do. And mine's is 3. He'll be 4 in March.
Yeah.
Lucky.
That is something super special. And then you have a daughter, which is great at the end. So she has a bunch of protectors, Sean, and it's like that's a good, like, I come from a family of that. My sister is the last one, so but in my situation, my daughter is first and then my son is last, so she's like the boss.
Right.
And it's crazy because he's now telling her, oh, I don't have to listen to you. And I'm like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. See, the way I was raised, and it's funny because I talked to my parents and they've listened to us too. And they brought to my recollection, like, I remember, like, when my brother would do things, I would get in trouble because I'm responsible for him.
I am my
You know what
brother's
I mean?
keeper.
I am my brother's keeper.
Right.
That's real. And then as I got older and I, straightened my brother out, me and him, I think we fought like once. He's always been a cool guy. You know what I mean? Cool brother to have. I feel like he's always like looked up to me. So I'll always try to be a great example. And my sister, she was coming up. My brother got it. I ain't get it no more. You know what I mean? He when she messed up, he got it.
Right.
And then because we like 6 years and then 10 years. So then it'd be like, I'm getting on her too as well. Like she always like, man, you getting on me like you my daddy. But I'm like, hey, you got to do better. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, it's funny that you brought that up. But yeah, that's a good topic. I mean, that's a good point. Good point.
Yeah.
About cherishing the kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the young age, because I'm never gonna do it again. You're probably never gonna do it again. You're gonna get some more. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's gonna be great for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
But now
Man, if
like,
I can get a boy next, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
I'll stick with 2.
Right.
But
yeah, and then you're gonna be like, well, I already got 2.
No. No,
So
I will get if it's a boy, I will get the snip.
Okay.
Three's company.
Right.
Three's company.
Yeah, I might get.
Hey, the government stops paying after 3. Okay.
No,
So-
they stopped paying after 4.
Is it
After
4?
4.
It's 4.
I heard it was 3. Okay, good
Yeah,
to
it's
know.
4.
Okay. Yeah. So
After 4, ain't no more.
Okay. So that's my take
Yep.
on the bonding. I know we finished up the last episode. We kind of went over, but I was actually kind of thankful about it because there's just a bunch of different developments between, you know, my son, my oldest, and so it kind of really made me kind of really think about that question. So yeah. Like I said, I was actually kind of happy
Yeah.
that I had some time to think about it.
Yeah, that's good, Sean. I'm glad you were able to
Yeah.
really like
Right.
marinate on that question. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. Okay, so let's move on. All right, Sensei John, where we at next? What we got?
Ooh, we got a new one. Work-life balance. This is a big one.
Okay,
Mm.
This is a
work
big
life
one.
balance. Okay.
Work-life balance. Do I have any strategies for balancing my career and my responsibilities with my family life?
Okay, say that one more time because I hit a button that muted you out. Let's go ahead and hit that one more time.
All right, work-life balance, strategies for balancing career responsibilities with family life. Do I have any advice for you? I might.
Okay.
I
Um.
might. I just might.
Okay. Nior, do you have any advice? I know I kind of want to go back and forth with who starts here.
Yeah.
Do you have any
Come on,
thoughts
Nerd.
on that?
Yeah, I mean, I know what I've done. And I actually just started this job back in May of last year, right? And when I was in the interview process, I flat out looked them dead in the eye. I said, "Look, if you guys would have gotten me in here 3, 4 years ago, I told you I would eat, sleep, and breathe this company. But that's not my scenario anymore. I said that this place is not my priority.
Mm-hmm.
I told them straight to the face, this place is not my priority. My little girl is my priority. Yes, I will take my on-call shifts, right? I'm not going to try to get out of those because that's my responsibility. I will finish up whatever job I'm at the end of the day. If I have to work over, I will. But you're not going to see me volunteering for stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my priority. You know, at the end of the day, what I want people to realize when it comes to your career is if something were to happen to you today is Saturday, they would have someone in your spot Wednesday.
Shit, might even be Sunday.
Might even be Sunday. Right.
Right.
But that's kind of my point though.
Right.
Right? You are not replaceable at home.
Right.
You're not replaceable at your daughter's dance recital. You're not replaceable at your boys' little league t-ball game.
Right.
Okay? You're replaceable at work. If you can't show up, they will find someone to do the job.
Right. Yeah.
100%.
Just another number.
But here's the thing, though. When you're at work, you got to rock it. Okay? You've got to own your job. You got to do it to the best of your ability. That way you can skate on this optional stuff. Right?
For real.
When they sit here, they're going to be like, hey, we got to do mandatory weekends. And you sit here and you tell them, hey, I already told you guys I'm not available unless it's my scheduled thing. Well, make sure you're doing everything you can during the week so they're not going to think twice about that. You know, it goes two ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You've got to give your all at work. That way you can give your all to your family.
Okay.
That's at least my opinion on it. I mean, like I said, my job, I work 6:30 to 4 Monday through Friday. If I've got people who are out of water, right, I don't go home until I get them back in water. That might be 6, that might be 7 o'clock at night. But guess what? When I'm done with that job, I'm going home. I'm not starting another one.
Hell no.
Okay?
Right.
And I'm off every other Friday. I am taking my days off and I'm going to be with my family.
Right.
Now, the hard part, right? For me, I work a very manually intensive job, right? So when I get home, I'm exhausted.
Right.
Okay, I sit here We by the time I get my daughter home, it's 5 o'clock. She goes to bed at around 7:30 in the evening. Okay, so I've got 2 hours, 2.5 hours to hang out with her. Usually that's trying to get dinner made, eat dinner, and then it's immediately time to start getting ready for bed.
Right.
That doesn't leave a whole heck of a lot of time to create that bond. But I'm here, right? She goes and stays at Nana's house one weekend day a week, like one night a week. That way, she can be with Nana, right? But outside of that, like Fridays, we try to take her to the park. We try to do things on the time that we're off that we can. If your job has PTO or paid time off or sick time or whatever the case may be, and in advance that you've got an event coming up for your kid. I was just talking to my brother. He what was it? He took the day. No, not my brother. It was my best man of my wedding. I'm like, you off of work today? He goes, yeah, I'm off work. It was a bring your dad to school day.
Okay.
Right? And he goes, yeah, I took the day off of work so I could go be present for that. Right? I think back to when you were in middle school, right? How cool was it to show off your dads or whatever father figure that you had available, right?
That wasn't a big thing where I came from.
It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't. But
It wasn't.
when I used to see that stuff on TV, let me just say that I thought it was awesome.
I thought it was too, Sean.
Right, yeah, but in the schools I went to, that wasn't a big thing for us. But I always thought that was cool, or like bring your kid to work day, stuff like that.
I wish.
I've done that before.
I can't. It's a liability.
We used to have that, and then but
you
my
did.
but my son wasn't old enough, and then finally when he got old enough, they stopped it. So yeah,
I was in the brochure for a little while.
Oh, were you?
Nice.
With me and my son.
Oh man. No, so
But that's my big. That's kind of what I'm putting down is to sum it up.
Picking it up.
When you're home, be home, be with your family to the best of your ability. Okay, guys. I know we've got some bluer than blue collar workers that will be listening to this. I know we got some white collar workers. We got the whole spectrum, right? To the best of your ability, when you're home, be home. Okay, but when you're at work, do all that you can. That way you can have a leg to stand on to stay home when you're not supposed to be at work.
Okay. So what sums it up, is basically lay the borders, lay those boundaries, and stick to them. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm getting from you. And that's definitely one way to ensure that your work-life balance. You want to make sure you take your career serious, and you want to make sure that when you're at work, you're at work. But you know what? I'm gonna draw this line in the sand. I said this from the beginning. I wasn't gonna work any extra. I wasn't gonna do this because family time um, is important. And so they knew this coming in. So if something came up, unless it's a life and death emergency, I'll see you guys on Monday.
I've got a really good company though. Also, they also require us to take 60 hours of PTO a year.
Oh, yeah, no, that's good.
Like they require us to take that.
Must be nice.
Employee burnout.
Right. You can tell we're in different industries, so.
But
Most
my boss
definitely.
I also sat here and my immediate supervisor, right? I told him, I'm like, look, I've got a 2-year-old. If she gets sick, there's no one to watch her. So we are kind of like go back and forth, my wife and I, who stays home. Right. Sometimes I've got no warning. It's hey, she just woke up and she's vomiting everywhere.
Right.
Someone's got to stay home, so it's me. Hey, my turn.
Right.
Okay.
All right, Sensei Jon, what you got? You said you had a couple things you want to share with us.
Yes, sir. I feel you on that, Njord. just this past week, my daughter was dealing. She has asthma, and she ended up. Man, I heard that loud and clear. She has asthma, and she also was like, when she gets sick, her asthma flares up.
Same here.
So I
My
mean,
daughter, same
I
way.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't have to stay home. Luckily, my wife works from home, and she kind of like had her meeting. She didn't have too many meetings this week or whatever. But I'm off in the middle of the week or whatever, so it's like balancing my home and work. Like I put in for like OT, but I had to immediately cancel that because that was something, I had to be here. You know what I mean? Because I like going to work sometimes, 6 days a week to be able to, make a little extra, put away.
Man, we
We
live
got a
in
trip coming
California,
up.
man. We got to put in just to buy milk, man. Don't, don't
Hey,
sugarcoat
don't
that.
sugarcoat it up, man. Hey, but I ain't gonna lie, it's good having a wife that works too. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
If she
I
is,
don't have no
hey,
problems. Mine stays at home. Anyway, please continue. Please continue.
yeah. But anyway, so I had to cancel, what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? And that's go in and get a little extra money, you know. And that's just what dads have to do. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's funny because I was talking to somebody earlier, and I was like, you know, back in the day, pops went to work. I'm not saying my pops, but let's go even a little further. Dad went to work, mom stayed home. You know what I mean? It was a different dynamic. You know what I mean? And even going back to like my mom and dad, whatever, they, pops went to work, moms went to work, dad's in the military and everything. But mom's always took care of home. She always cooked, she always cleaned. We clean too. Don't get me wrong. I was in there, busting them suds and vacuuming and every day. But
I smell
my
comet.
pops, huh?
He said I
Oh,
smell cum.
mine was pine salt.
Okay.
But anyway, so uh pops, he, working a little late or whatever. So mom's cook, clean, every house was spotless. You know what I mean? Because of us and moms. You know what I mean? But in my dynamic, you know what I mean? My wife, she has 2 and 3 jobs. You know what I mean? That she stays home for and does. So I have an early enough shift. You know what I mean? To where I come home. You know what I mean? We split the dinner duties during the week. I pick up the kids every day. I make sure, you know, that I come home when I get home, I'm home before them kids get out of school because she may have a meeting or anything. You know what I mean? So I work my whole schedule around making sure I can pick up the kids. And if I can't, if for some reason I can't, I communicate that with her and she makes a decision whether or not she's gonna go pick my daughter up, or go to after school care. But I make sure I communicate that early in order, to have my home life still good. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be too late. I've been late before, and you get them huffs and puffs, and you be like, ah.
You get those
So
too?
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
you get them huffs and
man.
puffs,
Right,
dog.
right.
And it's like, all right, I got to figure something out. But anyway, so one of the things that I mean, so at my job, I'm able to like get time and a half and double time and stuff like that. But even when I became in the job, even when I started the job that I was in now, you know, uh, my wife now was like, hey, your son is living with us and you can't, I just thought, oh, I'm going to go gung ho. I'm going to work 7 days a week. Woo, 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 woo. I had this in my brain, right? And she helped me understand, like, hey, you got to balance everything because not only, with my son and then after, especially with our daughter, and then now with the third child, it's like everything revolves around me being able to be here and be present. And as men, we have to be present, nowadays.
Yep.
I really, because the workload, I understand, like, first off, our women, the wives, they have the babies. You know what I mean? They go through 9 months. They go through the diapers as long, there's times where she didn't even wake me up to change a diaper. You know what I mean? And I really had to comprehend and work on myself, being present at all times for my children. And she really, like, it's funny because she's gotten frustrated at me or whatever, but never lost her cool. You know what I mean? And I really respect her for that. But as we talked about last week, therapy has helped me understand, about being a dad that's always here for their children. You know what I mean? Not just a working dad that thinks, oh, my check can't pay just for everything. You know what I mean? I don't have that type of job to where, well, I do, but I don't do them type of hours to where I can, just flat out, I'm balling out. You know what I mean?
Well, plus it's not 80 years ago.
Right. Thank you, Nord. You know what I mean? So that is a big deal for me in being present, being like I said last week, my daughter, she loves to talk. You know what I mean? Yesterday it was not funny, but she had a tooth that was loose.
It's not funny,
And
but
we
we
ate-
gonna laugh. Right. Right.
But we were eating. I was sitting there watching my TV show or something, and I fed them, and I was eating, and all of a sudden, her mom was gone. She was gone doing her thing on her Friday night. Tonight's my night, podcast night. Anyway,
I like to hear.
She started crying out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what? What's going on? What's wrong? I'm pausing my thing, like, what's going on? I swallowed my tooth. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You nothing wrong with you, like, you know what I mean? I knew how to handle the situation. She was like, and she started
We'll
looking
get it
around
back.
for it. She started looking around for it. The tooth fairy, she's not gonna bring me. I said, don't worry about that. I'm gonna text her. She gonna bring you your money. Don't even
Like,
worry.
when did we start? When did we start texting the tooth fairy?
Oh man, it's
When they swallow the
2020.
tooth.
Hey, in my household, we done forgot to text the tooth fairy a few times.
Okay.
Or call her.
Right.
I got the line for her. So
Okay. Well,
But anyway.
you had to run me that number, so right? You gotta
Yeah,
share
I'm gonna
that.
make sure I give you that. I give you
Okay.
that.
All right.
Y'all just made me
Anyway,
think
so-
of another topic for another day.
Okay.
Yep. Hey. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that right there, Sean. I want you to bring up some good tips and we'll go back around. I'm sure we all have something else.
Okay. So earlier today we were, it's podcast night, right? So I reminded the wife. So so she said, well, what are the topics for tonight? And I said, okay, bonding, work life, balance, and memorable moments. It's funny, I forgot memorable moments. Anyway, so I said, these were it. So, and I said, because I'm gonna need all the smoke when it comes to work life balance. It's interesting to hear you guys talk about work life balance because obviously we are not only in different industries, but we have different jobs. And we're in different situations. Like my wife stays at home; she's a stay-at-home mom, so I'm always at work, and I am working the 6 to 7 days. I'm working the 10 to 12 hour days every day. And so she had made a comment, because I was like, I need all the smoke, right? And she made a comment. We were actually, my son's school, they gave a little coupon, a free pizza for you guys know what Straw Hat is? Straw Hat pizza.
Definitely no straw hat, baby. Grew up on it.
I do not.
So it's like a California-based chain. It's like a Round Tables or something. But they're locally owned and operated. So it's a chain, but it's not like a big chain. So obviously the locally owned operated pizza spot, they give out the little coupons for the school for fundraisers and stuff like that. So he had the little coupon, and the wife was like, "Oh, hey, let's go to the pizza place and actually sit down and have straw hat pizza, right?" And so that's when we were talking, and she had asked, she's like, "Well, what are the topics?" And I said, "Work life balance, and I need all the smoke, whatever." And she made a very good distinction between like what it was, and I was like, "Okay, that's actually something I need to share, with the fellas," because she was like, "There's a difference between, because she was like, we're in a situation where this was a choice for me to go work all the time, right? But because she was basically correcting me as saying, no, you cherish work life balance, even though you go to work all the time. It's not because you just want to go to work all the time. Like you actually want to be with the family, and that made me think of that's a big distinction. Even though I am always at work, it's not like I always want to be there, and I cherish the time that I have. And I said, yeah, just like us eating quick dinner at a pizza place to me is fun with the family and the kids, and just kind of being out with them. And so she made that very big distinction that kind of got me to thinking about that. Like as far as like tips and tricks and all these things, like I got a bunch of mentors, and one of them told me about, again, what I had said earlier about the whole cherish the time with your kids now, because that's fleeting and the money's always going to be here. Because I want my wife to stay at home, so that requires me to stay at work, just so that when we ran our numbers, it's more expensive for her to go back to work than it would be for her to stay home with the kids and not have to pay for any kind of daycare. Or if she went to work and we had to pay for daycare, basically her check would be going to pay for daycare. So it was like, well, even financial hardships, last couple years or whatever. And again, we don't got the biggest bank accounts or nothing like that, but we make it work. And it was like, well, maybe it's time for her to go back to work. And we ran the numbers, and I'm a numbers person. So it was just like the cost of, her going back to work, that would include additional commuting, not just the daycare, but the commuting costs, the wear and tear on the car, extra laundry because she would have to, wash whatever clothes she was going to wear going to work. And then just, not knowing who's watching your kids. You know what I'm saying? And then, you had talked about, Sensei Jon, you had talked about picking them up from daycare or whatever. I mean, she knows, and we have deep discussions about this stuff, about like what's the worth of having someone watch your child versus you being there for them. And so yeah, I mean, we chose to be in this position. And again, you guys know we live in California, so that's why I was just kind of joking with you. You know what I'm saying? You working 6 or 7 days to buy milk, not because you're going on a trip. Like, let's be honest. But she kind of threw that out there and was like, maybe you want to think about that, throw that to the fellas as well. Maybe we as a group, I mean, for all three of us, I can't speak for everybody, but I think us even doing this podcast and taking, the 2-3 hours a week, kind of shows that we all kind of have some type of balance between work life and family life and friends, right? And who we spend our time with. So I just thought I wanted to throw that in there, or that differentiation between that. My biggest thing is if you have children, number one, cherish that, because the money's always going to be there. But their time is not. And they say that's one thing you expend every day you'll never get back is time. So, depending on the man that you are, you want to be the best dad you can be. Just like both of you guys said, it's about being present for your children at any point in time. You know what I'm saying? It looked like you had something to say to that. Did you? No. I thought you were going to. So, let me finish. I mean, that was my main thing is cherishing time with your kids.
Yeah.
And in cases, family. You know what I'm saying? Like your wife, and we're all married, so
We got to listen to them.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to compromise with them.
Yeah. Yes, that too, for sure.
That's
And
big.
and so yeah, when it comes to work life balance, I don't want anybody to not have a misconception about it, because I think just being a dad, being a man, providing is one of the main things that we do. And that may be misconstrued as, oh, I'm just going to stay at work or whatever the case is, versus saying, no, I mean, I'm going to work because I have to provide. It's not because I want to be there 24/7. And I think what I love about what you said, Jord, about it was, I'm gonna lay this border right here. This is the boundary I have, and I'm not gonna go beyond that. And then, like I said, what you said,
And I still got a promotion.
right, right. And like I said, what you had said, Sensei, was about, you know, um, you know what, my train of thought just derailed.
I
That's
had a
just
senior moment.
My bad. My
I had a
bad.
senior moment for a second. It's all
right.
good.
I was like, you scared me, Njord. Hold on. But like what you said about, yeah, you know what, I lost it. Okay, we're gonna have to cut that piece out. But anyway,
No.
moving on.
We ain't cutting that out. Moving on. But
Okay.
Sean, that's excellent. And yes, we all. Oh, New York, you had something to say?
I got a question for you guys, and because at least in my brain, it kind of goes to that work-life balance thing.
Okay.
For you two, I'm going to reference your second kids. Okay, that's where I'm going to ask this question at.
I got married.
How long did you guys take off for the birth?
Ooh.
That's a good one. Sean, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I have to remember. Our job allows us up to 12 weeks, right? Um, you could take
Even back then.
Yes. Well, my second is 8 years old. So
Right, so that was still 8 years ago, and this country still wasn't all that
well, I
paternal leave
well,
friendly.
we live in California, number one.
Yeah.
Number two,
Touche.
yeah, we have I'm a union worker. I'm in a union.
Okay.
And so within the protections of the union working and of course California, we're allowed 12 weeks. But I do want to say this: it's 12 weeks. You could take it paid, non-paid, whatever PTO you want to use. They couldn't tell you no. But it was but then if you decided to not use it all at one time, because depending on people's situations, you didn't have to use the whole 12 weeks. I believe you had to use them in 2-week increments. So I want to say like I probably took like 2 weeks, and then like another, and then like kind of went back to work, and then because again I'm the only one bringing in a paycheck. I'll never say, and I'm just gonna go on the record on this. I will never say my wife doesn't work.
Oh no, being a full-time mom is a full-time job.
Right. So, but like I said, I was the only one bringing in a check at the time, and yeah. So I want to say I did like a 2-weeker, and then I probably did another 2-weeker, after maybe a couple weeks going back to work, and then took another 2-weeker, and then my wife, both my kids with my wife are cesarean, so.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like I said, it just really depended. It was a different scenario with my daughter. But yes, so I did a 2-weeker. Yeah, I did a 2-weeker, and then went back to work for a little bit. Then probably did another 2-weeker, because I know I didn't take the whole like 12 weeks off. I think I took a total of about a month, maybe 5 weeks total.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Mr. Sensei?
My first.
No, your second, because
I'm sorry. That's what I mean. My daughter. I took 2 weeks off.
Okay.
And I kind of like spread it out, because you got a year to use it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I spread it out throughout the year.
Okay.
So I took another 2 weeks here and there. And for my son, because he was born in COVID, I got 4 months off straight. And I noticed the difference between his relationship with me and her relationship with me. but because she's my daughter, you know what I mean, it's still always going to be a little different. You know what I mean?
Right.
And because I realized that I have to take a little bit more time with her. But I got a funny story. So when she was growing up, when she first started talking, me and my wife was like, "Oh, you mommy's baby or daddy's baby?"
Oh man.
And she'd be like,
Oh God.
"Mommy's baby." You know what I mean?
And that
And
hurt.
I used to be like, okay, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool. I got my oldest one, you know, he daddy's baby. You know what I mean? And then uh uh when my son came, it was like cool because I was with him the first 4 months. So, you know, uh during COVID, you know, I'm in the backyard cooking hella steaks and ribs and shit. You know what I mean? But, you know, I ain't got shit else to do. I'm watching TV, making sure the daughter, my daughter is cool. I like your little brush too. By the way, it's your daughter's brush.
It's a baby
But
doll
anyway,
brush for the podcast listeners.
yep. But yeah, so it was really cool because I was like, when he got old enough to talk, I was like, "You daddy's baby or mommy's baby?" "Oh, I'm daddy's and mommy's baby." I was like, "Okay, I'm cool. We good. We good." You know, and he's so like, you know, like I get, you know, he loves to like give a kiss on the cheek and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's
Very
really
affectionate.
cool, very affectionate. You know, what's so cool is like, you know, every night, you know, I give him a bath, or whatever, and like he expects that. You know what I mean? He
Right.
expects to see me to come pick him up, and when I don't, my wife always relays to me, "Your son was asking why you didn't come pick him up," and so I have to talk to him, which is great because that means he expects it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It means you're there
And
consistently.
that means I'm there
Right.
consistently, and I really love that. You know what I mean? So I get so much joy, even though sometimes I'm really tired. You know what I mean? And like today, she came home. She's been with him, you know, all Saturday morning, and they went to a birthday party, and you know, they went to go do some jumping and stuff. And so, you know, I'm in podcast mode. You know, when I get home, so I come home. I cut up some chicken and stuff and cook some chicken for them because my wife is making nachos tonight. You know what I mean? So I was like, let me take the initiative and cut up this chicken and cook this chicken and season this chicken. Boom, we got the taco seasoning and everything in it. You know, garlic. So I cook. I love to cook. You know, that's one of my things too, and that I didn't mention is being in the kitchen is really like great mental health for me. But anyway, um, you know, I'm thinking like, okay, all right, I'll make this easier for when she come home. So when she come home, she like, okay, they need baths and showers. I'm like, man, I'm in podcast mode, man. I don't give a damn about no shower and bath. But that was in my head. That played in my head, y'all. That didn't come out.
Okay. I'm about to say,
Hell
I'm
no.
surprised
Hell
you ain't on
no.
here with glasses on, hiding the black eye.
That was in my head. That played in
Okay.
my head.
Okay. Okay.
But what really came out was like, okay, you know what I mean? That's that quick moment that I had real quick. But yeah, but you know, getting back to, you know, just even just doing that, you know what I mean? Like taking a little pressure off of her. You know what I mean?
Right.
Is enjoyable for me. And I didn't get that at first you know, when my daughter came. I would do shit like be on video games all night or, you know, be on my phone all night, whatever, you know, things of that nature. You know what I mean? Wasn't coming to bed like on time, things of that. That's really important to them.
Yeah.
You know what I
Big
mean?
time.
It's really
So
important to like, but
that's actually why I brought up like how long you guys took off.
yeah,
Okay. Because
I know.
half of your work life balance is that home balance. right? How are you balancing your home life? Are you being selfish with your time at the house, right? For me personally, I took 6 weeks straight off.
Okay.
We just got FMLA and I got to use
Right.
PTO. Okay. I took 6 weeks. Um, had a little bit of we had a game plan of how we were going to do it, right? Like we were trading off every night who got up with the baby and did all that. That way one parent could sleep and try to have some rest when you have a newborn, right? And then what it turned into being is we kind of had a little bit of an argument about when my daughter was going to move to her nursery. And my wife got to be off for 12 weeks, okay, paid, which was really nice. Lowe's is a great company, just saying.
Okay.
It was 12 weeks paid, without using any time off. So that was awesome. But I went back at 6 weeks, and so I made the compromise with my wife that my daughter, baby Freya, was going to be moving into her nursery when I had to go back to work. Okay, because yes, I still need to be here, and I need help with the newborn and this, that, and the other. But I also have to leave and go to work. Right. So I need to be able to sleep. Now, that doesn't mean that I needed to turn around and be selfish at home and say, I'm never getting up in the middle of the night with a newborn again because I've got to go to work and you're home for another 6 weeks. That's not how it played out. And I don't really condone that kind of methodology either. It was that schedule that we created is what we stuck with when I went back to work. I had certain nights of the week that I got up and I helped with the baby while she got to sleep, even though I was going to work and she wasn't. Okay? But you kind of put right into it, Sensei, like working with your spouse for stuff around the house, even though you've gone to work. Sean, your wife is a stay-at-home mom, but she gets burnt out being at work 24/7.
Right.
Okay? Right. So when you come home, half of your work-life balance isn't just sitting on the couch and being there with the kids. It's helping with the chores, doing what you can do to alleviate stress off of her. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not perfect at this at all. Okay? and I fail at it more times than I care to admit. Okay? But I'm trying.
Right. You know what? To kind of add to what you said, like I said, we've been doing this for a minute. You know what I'm saying? This is your first rodeo. So one of the things that I do, again, I completely 110% agree with you. Some of the things it's funny that Sensei Jon said that being in the kitchen actually helps soothe him. I do this thing where I clean the dishes. I do the dishes. Like my wife, she's an excellent cook. And I thought I knew how to cook. Well, when she came into my life, I stopped cooking because of that. And so I do the dishes. She does the cooking and I do the cleaning. When I had a different shift, when the kids were in school, when I worked in the afternoons, once a week I mopped the floors. I made sure the floors were mopped. Part of my nightly duties is to make sure that, anytime that the garbage has to go out, the dishes have to be done. We have a water dispenser. We get Nestle fresh, drinking water delivered. So I make sure that the 5-gallon bucket is there.
Primo.
Oh, so you take yours to the Lowe's to go get filled up. Is that what it is?
Walmart.
Oh, the Walmart. Okay. But yeah, so we do. So I mean, the heavy lifting that. But my wife is awesome, and so even though I do all those things, and then of course the kids, right? They want to run up to me and be like, "Oh, hey, Daddy, I want to do this, and this," and I do make time. Like I do make time. Like we have a bunch of board games they like playing. So, but my wife is awesome because she'll kind of like be able to read the room, and then she'll look at me, and then she'll say, "You know what, guys? Daddy deserves his time to do nothing right now. If he's just sitting there, as long as I get my stuff done, right? And it's not like we didn't have a conversation about it. That's just what I did. Was the dishes, and you know, it's just kind of like the routine that we fell into, and we've been doing this for however many years. Um, but 100% agree with that work life balance and making sure that you're there. And again, my wife's like, she'll be like, you know what? He's looking kind of rough right now. You know, daddy, you know, let daddy go play his game or let daddy whatever. Um, and so she helps me with that work life balance too. She kind of protects me from, you know, the kids, even though they probably been talking her ear off the whole time. Um, but you know, I'll like I said, I 100% agree with what you're saying, and the dishes is my thing. Like I'll do the dishes, and the kids will want to help, and it almost like messes my mojo up. But they want to help, so I want to be like, okay, you know, yeah, you know, let me go ahead and you know, don't drop that. That's glass. You know what I'm saying? So
It's like today, right?
Yeah.
So my mom's having some health issues, and so my wife tonight is the night that my daughter is staying with Nana. So my wife took her over there, but my wife had also planned on helping organize the garage all day today. Okay, I was never a part of this deal to go help out with that, so I stayed here at the house. Um, but I got the dishes done. I vacuumed the house. I mopped the floors. Right. I mean, I took care of that stuff, so that was one thing. Tomorrow she doesn't have to handle.
right, yep,
Right. It, like I said, fellas, those of you guys who are coming in, you're listening, right? For me, for Njord, half of that work-life balance is making sure you're actually helping with the life part of it. You've got a partner in crime who's potentially helped you make, definitely helped you raise the children that you're listening to this podcast about. Okay. Help them as well. You know, sitting on the couches is not conducive to that effect. I mean, we've all heard the old adage, happy wife, happy life, right? But
I see how Sensei reacted to that.
he's like, but
You want me to chime in?
yeah, go for it. Go
Yeah,
for
man,
it.
what? Yeah.
I'm just saying. So it is okay. Yes, happy wife, happy life, but happy home. You know what I mean? That means both.
Okay, so let me just.
I believe in that.
So let me throw this in there. So happy.
That's kind of where I was getting at.
Happy spouse, happy happy house, right? Is
Happy
that-
house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
happy spouse, happy. So both
spouse.
ways.
So that goes both ways.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, and that's why I even said earlier, someone made a comment about listening to the wife, and I said compromising with the wife, right? Because I know that we're finding, you know, with some of the ways that we're disciplining my daughter, some things she doesn't agree with, some things I don't agree with, right? But I think last episode I talked about pick your battles, you know.
Yeah.
Which ones are you going to stand firm on, right? Let me ask you a question. If you're the majority breadwinner at the house, and Sean, you're the one your wife is the stay-at-home mom, are you going to fight her that hard when she can't leave the job site when you get home?
Absolutely not. I tell her to get up out of here, and then she ain't. Nah, I don't want to do that. Nah, get up out of here. Nah, I'm like, okay, all right.
You know, my wife takes
out of here.
right. My wife takes my daughter to daycare. Right, doesn't get home till after us. Because I go pick up my daughter. But then the first thing that when she walks through the door, my daughter wants her. Right, so she until we put her to bed, my wife doesn't get a break at all.
Right.
Okay, and sometimes I'm needing her to make dinner as well. I mean, it is a give and take, and in order to make a happy house, right, you both have to figure out how to navigate and work together.
Right. Yeah. That's deep right there. Yeah.
I definitely
And go ahead, Sensei. Then I'll add a comment. Then we'll move on to our next topic.
I definitely agree. Like working together, you know what I mean? Both ways. Happy house, happy spouse, which is both of us, because if I'm just making her happy all the time, you know, and I'm not happy as well, the house is gonna be in disarray.
Right.
It ain't gonna be no happy house.
Right.
There's gonna be
You
tension.
know what I mean? Yeah, always. And getting back to, just what you said about making time for not only your kids, but making time for your wife, making and all everything is a work balance, right? Like you said, Sean, making time for everything, making time for yourself, your wife. Y'all gotta have that time too.
Right.
You know what I mean? When the kids go to bed, I know, understand, but date nights. You know what I mean? We can't lose that. You know what I mean? And I know, it's different for all of us because my mom was living near us. It was a little different. And we ask her mom sometimes too, which is cool, but we don't like to wear her out.
Right.
You know what I mean? My mom live a little further away, and as I said before, now my siblings have kids.
Yeah.
So, they be wearing her out. So she's like, I ain't watching no damn kids.
Right.
Luckily,
she
luckily,
talked
my
that-
daughter's the only grandkid.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she talked that mess, but she's still watching for us though. She we go on vacation with them. You know what I mean?
Right.
My parents. And we go to Hawaii, Orlando, wherever we want to go, wherever they going, they always invite us. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's great. You know what I mean? But yeah, you gotta have that. All that is balance. But you especially gotta have that time for your wife because she, you know what I mean. She gotta make that time for you too. You know what I mean. But date nights, don't forget about that. That's work-life balance. You know what I mean.
Right.
You can't be
Yo,
working all the time.
I literally just bought some stuff for our next date night. So not getting it's not weird.
You
okay.
nasty.
Ooh,
So,
you nasty.
My wife and I, we like to play Dungeons and Dragons, like the tabletop game.
Right.
Okay. And literally on Facebook, I was scrolling through and they've got a couples date night, like just 2-person Dungeons and Dragons, like
Campaign.
game. Yeah. And it's reading through it. It's supposed to like spark romance, intimacy mixed with the whole fantasy battle and all of that stuff mixed in with it. I was like, hell yeah. I'm gonna buy this. It's like $35. I'll try it. Hell yeah, let's do this. So it'll be interesting. I mean, again, different pokes for different folks. We enjoy playing D&D. Okay, yes, I know I'm the nerd.
No, that's perfect. No, that's great.
But one of those nights that my mother has my baby, we're gonna play
that's
some
y'all
D&D.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
We may have to
Pull
skip.
up.
We may have to skip podcast that night. Just saying.
Hey, you do. Hey, we in support of you, brother.
Right.
You know.
All right, Sean. You said you had a comment.
Yeah, so I did want to have a comment. Just it's actually more of a disclaimer than it is anything else. So we're speaking what I love about our little dynamic we have right here, right? The whatever you want to call it, Sensei Jon called it the dynamic duo. Now we got to be like the Holy Trinity or something like that.
Yeah, come on, man.
So,
Preach out.
but the disclaimer that I want to throw out there is like, again, what I love is the different perspectives. Like you speak it from a perspective of being your first child, being married, young, planned, all these other things. And then some of the things that, like, if you guys are watching the video, you'll see my face change a little bit. And if you listen to some of our previous episodes, me and Sensei Jon, we cringe a little bit about some of the things you talk about because our first child was not that. Like our first child.
Definitely not.
Yeah, so I want to just throw a little disclaimer out there, just for the listeners and just us, as why I love having these discussions with you gentlemen, is those dynamics and how like you have a different perspective and we all could bring a different perspective to the topic. And the disclaimer is like, don't get disheartened or whatever by some of our reactions. Because like me and Sensei Jon realize we're really close when it comes to this particular piece. And so he'll cringe and I'll laugh. Or I'll cringe and he'll laugh. Just because,
Yep.
we know what we're thinking. Like, oh, man, the first one was not that way. Or, you know what I'm saying?
Nope.
Like, you're like...
But let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Right? going from the first one, right? Hence why I asked you guys about your second child, how much time you guys took off.
Right.
Okay. And so the reason why I asked about the second child was not only because you guys didn't stay with the mom or whatever that case may be. You guys were also young. Okay. Really young.
Yeah. I was
okay?
23, so I was 10 years younger than you are when I had my first kid.
And I was 19.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So that mentality wasn't there yet.
No.
Okay.
Right.
I mean,
Definitely not.
you don't become your brain doesn't fully develop until you turn 25 anyways.
Right.
Okay. That's just a scientific fact. Okay. But that's why I asked about your second child, because you guys were in a serious relationship. You guys were, or if not, already married, right?
Well, I was married. I wasn't doing nothing else until I got
Okay.
married.
Okay. So you guys were both married when the second kid came along, right? It was a different mindset. You guys were in dad mode at this point.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's definitely why I was kind of more or less focusing on that.
Yeah. And like I said, I just, as a little disclaimer, like, again, just different.
That was a good
different
question.
Folks. Yes, it was. It was very good. Okay, so we got a little bit more time. We might have to cut it off again with our final topic. But I was very excited to talk about this next topic. So, Sensei Jon, what we got for us?
We got memorable moments, sharing heartwarming or amusing stories from parenting experience.
Okay.
Hey, Flac, we gonna turn it on to you first. You got something for us?
I do. Like I said, I this past week I've had time to reflect on my oldest. We're in a challenging time right now. I don't want to go into any details until everything kind of pans itself out. So I've been reflecting on the different things that we've been through the years and memorable moments. You had talked about this. I really had to think about it. And so with my oldest, one of the most memorable, like he was into all that. He was into martial arts. He did Kajikembo. He did kickboxing. He did American karate. He did CYO basketball when he thought he wanted to be a basketball player. We put him in that. But one of the things that to me was the most memorable, because I'm a theater nerd, right? Like I took theater. I took theater. I was I directed my own little one acts in high school. I wanted to go to film school. So I didn't mind. I was in a couple musicals, a couple plays, and that was a blast for me. And so my son, he joined like a little dance group. So it was like a dance performance group or whatever. And he was so into. So it was like a bunch. So I want to say he was still in elementary school. I want to say so maybe he was like in the 4th or 5th grade. But it was him. There was another boy, and then there's a bunch of girls, and they had a performance, is what they had. And I remember they were doing it's that 50s like how's it go? Rock to the drop all day long, huffing and a puffing and
Puffing and
singing.
singing that song.
Right,
All
so-
the little birdies on day.
Rockin' Robin.
Yeah, Rockin' Robin, right? So
Tweedly, tweedly.
so he obviously he was one of the boys, so he had the audition for these. So a couple things that were very memorable when he did his show. I think he did 2 shows with that group, or was it 1? But the very first one was they had to do that song, and he had his own little solo in that. And I guess when the show was going on, they had technical difficulty, right? But
Like you do.
right. And but the show must go on in his eyes. So when his part came, they had technical difficulty. He busts into his little part. And so everybody else is like standing around and not really knowing what's going on. And he literally did his whole part. And I forget what part it was. And then like they were like the teacher, the director, whatever she was called, she came on stage and she was like, oh my God. She let him finish his part. And then she's like, oh my God, good job. Everybody else was kind of lost when this happened, but he was still on focus. You know what I'm saying? So I was very, very proud of him for that. And I have it on video. And then the other thing too is he he said he had another solo in the same group, and it was the song, one of the songs from The Princess and the Frog, the Disney version of The Princess and the Frog, and he had a solo, and he nailed that. You know what I'm saying? So I was very proud of him for that. He practiced and he worked really really hard on both of those items, and it showed that he was ready for it. And he was prepared, and he was really really interested in those things. So yeah, I want to say, memorable moments for me from my oldest. And as far as my younger kids, I mean, there's a bunch, but I mean, it's just not over. You know what I'm saying? Like it's. I can look back at my oldest and be like, oh, these were memorable because he's a different person now. But I'm still waiting for those memorable moments with my youngest ones, and they're just always a joy doing something funny or something stupid or, what I'm saying, something that make me laugh. I got to pull out the picture real quick, but
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's my memorable moment with my oldest.
right. And if you don't mind, I'd
Nope.
like to go
No, you
next.
go first.
All right. Yeah. So, Sean, I'm on along the lines of you with you. One of the ones I wanted to share was with my son, and it was a time where me and his mom weren't together, which was okay. I think he was about 5, and we took this trip down to L.A. I took him to Disneyland,
Mhm.
and I took him to what was that? California Adventures, even though he couldn't ride. I don't know.
Bro,
How about
hold on just a second. Make sure you get that right. You were in my grounds out there. That's Orange County.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was down there. I was down there.
That ain't no LA.
Yeah, okay. Orange County, and yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I rented. I think, yeah, about like 24, 25. Yeah. So, and he was about 5 years old, and I had to rent a car. I had to drive down there, and it was just so cool, like seeing him sit in my right. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't have a car seat. I was a young dad. Didn't have like the booster seat either.
Oh,
I thought he was,
geez. Big
he was the
enough.
right weight. He was
Right.
big enough.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Because he was a preemie,
Sensei
and
Jon.
yeah, he ended up being a preemie, but like he was like Chubbs afterwards. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And yeah, it was like I remember that. I remember like going. I bought a little spot at the Holiday Inn. We stayed at the Holiday Inn. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right. Chingy.
I know. Yeah, at the Holiday
Holiday.
Inn.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and like his bunk beds had like a TV in there, so he wouldn't bother me. You know what I mean? And it was nobody else was going, so I was like, "Oh, this is perfect." My pops he traveled with a lot, so um, with the military, so he got a hell of points with the Holiday Inn and stuff. So he kind of helped me out with like some room, some of the room stuff,
Right.
and he pointed me in the right direction. And we had a great time, like at what do we go to? Tomorrowland. I don't even know if they have that anymore.
They do
Um, okay, and
not.
No, I
do
want to say, I
not.
think it's like
That's
Star
that's
Wars.
that is now Star Wars.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, that was one of my memorable moments, just like being able to spend time with him by ourselves. That was a trip. Like I drove there, wasn't nobody with me, and I drove home, you know what I mean? We took shuttles and everything from the Holiday Inn to, excuse me, the park. Because I wasn't, once I parked, I was like, you know what? It'd be better for us to they got free shuttles. I don't even know if they do that anymore. Ain't
Right.
nothing free. Um,
Right.
but being able to spend time with him in the park, going, there's a lot of things I couldn't do because, you know what I mean? He was small. He was still small or whatever. Going to California Adventures, I'm like, damn, he can't even ride none of these rides over here. Why the hell did I? But it was just the time that we spent, you know what I mean?
Right.
Rolling around, you know what I mean? Going inside the parks and buying him stuff and
Yeah.
buying him little knick-knack paddywhacks, give a dog a bone thing. You know what I mean? It was just cool, like just spending time with him. That was one of the moments that I have, with him. Like you said, my kids now, like I'm still building them moments. You know what I mean? But seeing my daughter play soccer for the first time, you know what I mean? Seeing her score a goal, You know what I mean? In her soccer game. Those are memorable moments for me. Seeing my son, you know what I mean? It seems like he hasn't grown fast enough, but I'm cherishing these moments because with my daughter, they went by so fast because I only took the 2 weeks off. You know what I mean? It seems like he's been 3 for 3 years. For two, when he was 2, it was for 2 years. It seemed like a long time with these kids. You know what I mean? With him. So just watching him grow is a cherishable moment for me. Watching him grow inch by inch, taking those times out and being a dad, being present, answering his questions, picking him up. You know what I mean? Taking him to his doctor's appointment, calling for his doctor's appointments. My son has eczema. Being able to go pick up his eczema cream. You know what I mean? Being able to, stay home because he's sick. My job, I'm able to I have FMLA now for my mom, you know what I mean, and my kids. But being able to stay home, my wife can't, it's not saying she can't, but it's a little different for her because has a professional type of environment that she's in. She's working from home. I can just, at the drop of the hat, I can call and be like, hey, because I'm just a number. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can be replaced day by day. You know what I mean? But being able to have that freedom and to be able to be there for my children, you know what I mean? Those are memorable moments.
Right.
For me.
That's big.
All right, Njord, newbie, what you got?
So she stepped over the dog yesterday without falling over.
Oh, score!
All right, let me get a horns for that one.
No, actually, but yeah, that's kind of how my memorable moments are going right now. She can't talk yet. I mean, she's getting there, right? Like I can understand about 50% of what she's saying. But it's limited, obviously. She's 2. But the most memorable moment I think that I have right now that's burnt, as I'm sitting here, I'm like, what kind of memorable moments do I have at 2 years old? Jesus. I don't have any. So I'm listening to y'all talking, and all of a sudden one popped into my head from August. Let's see. She wasn't feeling all that great. We put her to bed at her normal time, right? 7:00 Eastern or Central Standard Time. So, what is that? 5 p.m. your guys' time? Put her to bed. She wakes up at midnight, and I'm talking so back up a little bit. She'd been running a fever for 2 days. Like anywhere from 2 days before it was 104, right? And for all you new parents out there, don't try to even take your kid into the doctor or whatever at 104 because they won't take them if it's been 3 days or 105 for more than an hour. Okay, I know it's stupid. It's not like we were kids, but I mean 103 back when I was a kid. It's like, oh my god, he's dying. Go to the ER. Right? So that's what I was used to when I had a kid, and I'm like, it's over 103. What do you mean she's gonna be fine? But yeah, just so you guys know. But she was 104 the 2 days before, and then she was 101 the day before, and she actually was fairly regular the night we put her down to bed. And at midnight, I get her up. Oh, I don't get her up. She wakes us up, and it's complete rage crying, screaming, unconsolable. Nothing's working. I take her temperature. I take an internal temperature, and she's down to 95 degrees, right? So it's she went the complete opposite direction.
Hey.
And I'm sitting here freaking out, calling the on-call nurse or whatever the case may be, oh yeah, she definitely needs to be seen, but wait until your primary care doctor opens up and guys can get her into there into the sick child side. I'm like, that doesn't happen until 8 a.m. It's 2 a.m.
Right.
She keeps screaming and screaming. There's nothing we can do to get her better. So we call again at 4 a.m. Hey, nothing's getting better. They're like, yeah, there's you're gonna have to wait till 8 a.m. And I said, screw this. I called my boss. And I'm like, hey, I'm not coming into work today. My kid's been nuts. Right, we're on our way to the ER right now. Right, so my wife and I, we load up our baby and we're headed to the ER. Best time to go to the ER, by the way, guys, at least in Little Rock, is 4 o'clock in the morning. There's no one in there in the children's ER. You can just walk right in. They did all these kind of different tests on her, this, that, and the other, poked, prodded. She hated every single minute of it. She had a fucking sore throat.
Oh, she can't tell you that though. So
she can't tell us that she had a sore throat, but $1,400 later.
Oh, shoot.
I got a bill for. Well, actually, we didn't get the bill. I got the claim sheet from my insurance saying this is what you kind of owe. But it's on the top of it says this is not a bill, right? But it was like $1,400 for a sore throat.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, makes sense. We thought of everything we could think of,
Right.
but a sore throat never crossed our mind. Ever.
It's crazy. It's crazy because, when I'm thinking in my head, as parents, seasoned parents, as am I at, you alternate between Tylenol and Motrin. The Motrin helps with the Did y'all do that?
We were doing we've done Tylenol and ibuprofen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what most.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we do that, but again, it just was not. It was
wasn't helping,
not
right?
at all. I mean, once we started getting like the Pedialyte popsicles and
Well, yeah,
the
them are
cold
the best.
stuff,
Those are the
that's
best for them.
that's what started doing phenomenal. Like once we found out it was a sore throat, we knew how to tackle it from there. It
Yeah.
was just
Pedialyte popsicles come in handy.
Right.
We keep those on deck all the time.
Right.
oh, dude, I've got
Only-
like 2 boxes of them in the freezer right now.
Hey,
Okay.
I don't even know how they eat those. I tried one. It was nasty as
You
hell.
have to be so it actually because it is a
It's an electrolyte.
it's an electrolyte. You
Salty as
have
hell.
to be
Yeah.
you have to be dehydrated for it to taste good. Okay. Seriously, try it next summer. I mean, I know you're in California, but the
So I
next
gotta
time
get-
it's
I gotta
super
get
hot,
drunk as hell.
get dehydrated and try a Pedialyte popsicle. I'm telling you right now, it'll taste like the best thing in the world.
I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys don't hit my summers of 110, but with
Yeah.
93% humidity.
Yeah. We
You
don't
do,
get,
Sean.
yeah, I get 110, 112, but not the humidity. I don't get the added humidity.
Yeah.
So
No, that was just interesting that you say that. Like, yeah, but the Pedialyte thing, it's just like Gatorade.
Yeah.
Gatorade has
how
electrolytes
good-
in it, and
How
it's
Gatorade
salty.
used to be, though.
Yeah,
Gatorade used to be, yeah.
yeah. So I'm just saying, like,
'Cause it's not
salty
like that
because-
no more.
Oh,
Right.
I haven't drank a Gatorade in a while, so.
It's juice.
but yeah, that was my major. I mean, and I'm still getting hit with the she rolls over. I love you, daddy. Like those
Right.
kind of things that like randomly. So just kind of like you both said that I'm still creating new ones. I'm still working on it. The memories.
Is she sleeping in her own bed?
Oh, dude. So since we put her in her crib in her nursery at 6 weeks old, she will not fall asleep with us in the room with her or in our bed. She has to be alone in her bed, in her room to go to bed.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
No, it's kind of a double-edged sword. If I'm being completely honest with you, right? Because
What you got?
I'm sure you guys have all had that moment where you're like, oh, I just want to cuddle and take a nap with my kid.
No.
No? You've never had that thought?
No, not for me.
You know what? I mean, I probably had that thought about my cat, but yeah, not my
Not for the
kid.
kids.
Yeah, not for my
Okay,
kid.
well, I've-
Get your ass in the bed. And don't...
No, I'm not talking at nighttime,
Oh,
right? Like during the day, like if you wanted to lay down on the couch, cuddle with your kid,
Oh, yeah,
right?
for sure.
Mine will not do it.
Oh,
Period.
Yeah, like
Right?
my daughter sits on my lap and she wants me to rub her back. So
yeah.
that's
Sure.
my
My son will
little
come.
cuddles.
Yeah, he'll come nestle up while we're watching like TV, like America's Funniest Home Videos or something on TV. Yeah, he'll come nestle up under me and he'll get under my arm.
Like Saturday morning cartoons, you guys are like
Oh
you bust into
yeah.
your parents' room when you were older before you could turn on the TV yourself and all of that. You bust into your parents' room like, let's watch TV. You'd sit at the foot of their bed and watch TV while they still laid in bed.
Yep.
Right? Mine won't do that. She won't sit still, lay down in the bed to watch TV because that's not where she sleeps. She doesn't like to cuddle, and I think it's because we kind of booted. I think it's because we booted her to her nursery at 6 weeks old.
Well, that's her
Yeah.
problem, not yours.
You know, I thought you were gonna go in a different direction, but we have cameras in our kids' rooms, and my wife.
I do too.
Yeah, she has
Yeah.
a monitor that's right next to her, so that little. She's immediately like looking like.
And she like,
Yeah, right. Right.
Oh.
So okay.
No, my wife, we've gotten to the point of like we turn her down if she starts crying. Like 10:30 p.m. without a doubt, there is
It's
a
on
cry
time.
cycle.
All right, it's on
Like-
time.
Yeah. And it's
yeah.
down.
Now mine, he's 3 years old and he gets up and he goes to the bathroom. So he's in the bathroom playing with toys, making noise. I gotta come out the room. I already see him. I already hear him, and he knows. And as soon as I open the door, bathroom door, he's walking out like.
All right,
so
all right, Daddy, I know.
we had so the handle style, right?
Yep,
Doors.
that's what we got.
My daughter can open those, right? We found that out when we were visiting my in-laws in California this last Christmas. And we're like, okay, we're gonna start potty training. So I went and got those door handles. I put them everywhere. Not everywhere. I put them on her room, our room, and our bathroom, right? And when in the span of 30 minutes, when she's getting out of bed, out of the room 15 times, I was like, her room's going back to the knobs.
Right. We're gonna keep her indoors. Right. We're gonna keep her indoors. Right.
Hey, you gotta type in the code to get in my room. You can't even get in my room. You gotta,
That's where the Oreos are at, right, Dad?
All right.
hey, that's the pantry in my room. You can't get in it. You don't walk it in on me.
All right.
Well, I think we've had a great night tonight and a lot of great topics talked about.
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so that actually basically concludes the time that we have left. So, so those are some really great topics, Sensei Jon, you brought to the table here. But you know, what do they got? What do they got in store for next week? We actually haven't talked about this, so you might be shooting from the hip here. But what do you got? What do you got for next week?
Well, we got a few different directions we can go in.
Okay.
We can take a break from this and go father figures that aren't fathers. We can talk about those type of people in our life that aren't our fathers, but have been really like valuable in our life to help us along the way as, you know, young men, you know what I mean, in our lives, and to be able to guide us, you know, through our young men knucklehead stages as well.
Okay.
I got a few other topics here. Reflecting on personal growth and lessons learned through fatherhood. How about that? Reflecting on personal growth. Our growth as fathers. You know what I mean?
That's a rocky road right there, but okay. We'll have
Straight
to
to
talk
Dublin.
And then I got one more for you. How about raising children in the digital age? Screen time, social media, and technology use.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
How can we... Man, I got some good ones for this one, though.
Okay.
When we get there.
How old are you all again?
I'm 43. I'll be
38.
I'll be 43 this year.
38. Okay.
I'll be 39 this year.
Okay. So we all taught
So
ourselves the technology anyways.
Yeah, so I grew up without technology and with technology.
Right.
Who's playing Oregon
MySpace.
Trail?
MySpace.
You remember Oregon Trail?
You
Oh
remember?
hell yeah!
You remember?
You died from dysentery.
Did you remember Friendster?
Oh,
Friendster?
I was at the tail end of Friendster, but I had AOL AIM.
Oh, I
okay. I had AIM.
I still have an AOL
Friendster.
email account.
Yeah, I'm
But
sure
you didn't have the AIM. Oh no, you did. You did.
Oh yeah,
You did.
if you had AOL, then you had AIM. Yeah.
Yeah,
So okay. I mean, you know, something
Friendster. I
that
do remember that. Now it's starting to click. Yes.
right. So like that was okay. So you know, again, we're closing the show down. So, so we got a couple options we could talk about, which directions we may go. You know, like I said, you know, tune in to each of our socials, and maybe we'll kind of give you a hint on any of those, and we'll talk about socials here in a second. About maybe a hint of what direction we plan on going. So check us out. You'll see our socials. They'll be superimposed on the screen here. Also down in the comment section down below. So we're getting to the end of our show here, guys. You guys want to do some end of show shout outs before we go out with the socials? Sensei Jon.
Shout out to you guys, man. What a beautiful night. We had some great stories. And shout out to the audience listening, you know, comment, subscribe to the channel, and let us know some of your stories that you would love to share with us, or you know, some comments that spark a story, that's something that we said that may have sparked a story for you. You know what I mean? Give it, shout out some love for us.
Okay, all right. Njord, what you got? Any end of show shout outs?
Straight to our patrons. You guys are awesome. You're helping us do what we do. Also to the rest of our listeners, I kind of want to add on to what Sensei Jon said. Beyond just comments and stories and stuff like that, give us some topics. Give us some things that you guys are struggling with that you'd like to get some perspective from us about.
Yeah, that'd be
I mean,
great.
we're not the end all knowledge on fatherhood, trust me. But
There's
we've
no
got
manual, right?
No man.
no, it does not come with an instruction manual. But pick our brains. Give us some thoughts on what you got. I mean, it only helps us. It only helps us keep going. But that's all I get. That's all I got at 11:48 at night.
I know, right? So for me, again, just like what kind of reiterate what everybody just said there. You know, first of all, you guys know, just want earlier in the show we did say, what's in your cup. If you guys, the quiz for that was going to be if you know what Sensei Jon's tequila brand is, what's in his cup. He does like tequila. You're going to have to go ahead and check out some other episodes. Leave that comment down below. And as Njord added to that, if you get it right, we'll give you a shout out on our next recorded episode. The other thing too would be is, you know, shout out to our patrons. Again, if we just prior to this, we did record our second behind the scenes from the Dad Life podcast episode for the patrons over there. You can head over to shadowpackwest.com to check out how to be a patron, and then we have our patronage. It starts as low as $1 a month. But what's most important is that you guys are listening to us. We totally appreciate that. Sharing, liking, subscribing, commenting is a big thing. So if you guys can't become a patron, we still have good content and for you guys out there. And so that's my final shout out for the night. Oh, and then of course shout out to Shadow Pack West. Actually tonight I'm wearing my OG Shadow Pack Gaming sweatshirt. So if you guys are watching us here on YouTube, or you're watching the video on Spotify. I was like, what is this? Spotify. Right. If you're watching the video that's on the Spotify for podcasters app, you'll see that I'm wearing our classic Shadow Pack Gaming sweatshirt. And then, of course, shout out to Shadow Pack West. Shadow Pack West is a content creating team, offshoot of Shadow Pack Gaming. It's something that me and Njord founded. We're part of for 3 years. And kind of changed, and things, you know, like you said in with the last episode, dad life happened and things had to change, but we're still using it as a platform to collaborate with each other. So again, you can check out all the information about Shadow Pack West as a group. You can check out all our team members at shadowpackwest.com. So with that being said, we'll start off with you, Njord. If anybody has any questions, comments, or emotional outbursts for you, where can they find you?
They can find me on X at NjordGod. That's NjordGod.
All right. And if they have any questions, comments, emotional outbursts for you, Sensei, where can they find you?
They can find me. Y'all can find me on X and Instagram at Sensei_Jon33. That's Sensei_Jon33 on Instagram and X.
Okay. And if you guys have any questions, comments, emotional outbursts for me, you can find me on X and on Instagram as well. On X, that's at Sean Flac. And then on Instagram, I believe that's Sean_Flac 2.0. So I want to thank everybody for listening to today's episode. You want to make sure you guys tune in to the next episode of the Dad's Live podcast, and that's for your dad
life, dad
life.
advice.
Dad life, dad advice. And
Peace.
we got this
Peace out.